You might have already heard about something called the Canada Grocery Rebate. This is a direct to Canadians payment that could be coming soon, but there's a big problem with it. So today we're not only going to be talking about what you need to do to get the money, how much you'll get, and when you could actually see this money in your account, but we're also going to talk about why this is different and why that difference is kind of pissing me off. Now, this payment is currently being debated in the House of Commons as part of something called Bill C-47, and the language is quite dense describing exactly how it works. But this language is actually exactly the same as some other language for a similar kind of benefit that came out last year, so we can actually look at a better description of this on the CRA's website. You might remember getting a payment in January. This was for the doubling of the GST tax credit, a payment that goes directly to your account, and it turns out that this new grocery rebate actually isn't a grocery rebate at all. It's just a reskinning of the exact same thing they did last time with this GST rebate, so we can get the same numbers that we had for that to get an idea of how much you could get if this benefit is actually something that passes. That's $234 max for a single person, $306 for a married partners, $387 for a single parent with one child, and up to $467 for a couple with two children. And it's actually kind of odd that they even called this a grocery rebate, because nowhere in the legislation or in any of the language that's actually formal does it even mention a grocery rebate anywhere. It's just a GST doubling. So you can really see the government here sort of trying to say, hey, we're giving you money for this thing, so don't breathe down our backs about grocery prices being high. We'll get into what, if anything, you need to do to prepare to receive this money and when you could actually get it. But first, we need to talk about whether or not this bill will even pass. On 4/20, this bill was introduced into the House of Commons, and now it's currently in its second reading phase. Once it passes second reading, it then goes to a vote, and then it goes to the committee, and then they have to sort of study the bill. And at that point, it comes back for third reading. If they accept it, then it goes to the Senate. They take a look at it. If they vote in favor of it, then the whole bill can pass. That's all well and good. That's the sort of process that we have to go through here for legislative changes. But there's one big thing that is a lot different from the last time this happened. Let me show you this. I think you're going to be surprised. Like I was saying earlier, this grocery rebate, a quote-unquote grocery rebate, is very similar to the GST doubling that happened a little while ago, and this is the bill that brought in that prior GST-HST rebate. That's Bill C-30. Now, take a look at how long this bill is. It's not very long. We've got essentially just one page, and if I zoom out to sort of what you can sort of see, you can see it all almost on one page on your web browser, just a little bit of scrolling. Now, contrast that to what I'm about to show you with this new bill. This is Bill C-47, the one that's going to bring in this grocery rebate. Now take a look at this. It's not the one page that we saw in the previous bill. Let me start scrolling here. Any day now. Any day now. You can see how far we are down the page. This is where we are with all that scrolling. Let me go faster. You can't even see the words, it's so fast. This is a 680-page bill, bringing in not just this benefit payment, bringing in a whole host of other things, including other sort of sub-bills that are trying to get passed alongside this. Like I was saying, there's countless other changes included in this bill. It's not just this payment that needs to get passed. So even if you support this payment to help individuals, you have to pass everything else in the bill if you want the payment to actually happen. And I'll show you a couple of the things that they're trying to pass through alongside of this sort of benefit payment, the grocery rebate. This is a big change for the Bank of Canada because it allows them to sort of offset the amount of money that they're currently losing. If you've been watching the channel in the past, you'll know that the Bank of Canada, for the first time ever, is actually losing money because of the way they're paying interest on their deposits with the big banks. Right now, they're losing a lot of money. This is the first time it's ever happened. So the government of Canada is saying, well, actually, we're not going to bail you out. You can just kind of ignore the fact that you're losing money and you're actually in the negatives. And once you're not in the negatives, you can just sort of pay all that down again in the future. Just ignore it for now. And another interesting change that I saw in here that I think not a lot of people are talking about, and it could sort of say what the government thinks about the current economic climate, is that this amendment sort of allows the government to, until April 30th, 2024, raise CDIC insurance limits. Essentially, that's the insurance that's covering your deposits in the bank. They're saying, hey, maybe we're going to need to raise up those insurance deposits or the amount of money that we can pay out to people. So they're giving themselves the power to increase that limit. Right now, it's $100,000 $5,000 is sort of insured for every bank that you bank with. Right now they're trying to consider, hey, maybe we should up that. So maybe they think that the banks are in a rougher situation than a lot of us think right now. Maybe that little bit of information deserves another video, actually, to get in a little bit more depth about that. But the point here being that these changes are among many others that are in the bill, so it's not as easy to pass this grocery rebate as the previous one that was only just a couple of pages, right? This could be out of convenience for the Liberal government, just putting all these things through at once so they don't have to go through the legislative process over and over again, but also it's certainly strategic to help the bill get passed. You see, the government's currently putting both political parties in a rough position, both opposition parties, the NDP and the Conservatives. The NDP, for one, essentially can't vote down this bill because it includes something that they've been heavily campaigning for a long time, and that is all of these dental care measures. Inside of this same bill that has this sort of grocery rebate is also an entirely new bill that's sort of a sub-bill inside of it. Again, it's like 700 pages, this bill, so there's sub-bills inside of it, and that's the Dental Care Measures Act, something that the NDP are really in favor of. So they can't really vote against this bill because it includes the thing that they've been campaigning for a very long time. Regardless of if they like all of the other measures that are inside of the bill, they've just got to pass it through. And the fact that there's this grocery rebate and the dental care inside of this mega bill essentially gives the Liberal government the ability to criticize anyone who dares to vote against the bill, saying, oh, so you're voting against kids being able to go to the dentist and vulnerable Canadians getting extra money. You're awful if you don't like anything else in this bill, right? If you vote against this bill, even if you're okay with those things, they can levy that criticism against you if you're an opposition party. And this is what kind of frustrates me and pisses me off, frankly, is that if they really wanted to help Canadians, maybe they put forward a bill like they did last time, Bill C-30, that is just short, is one purpose, and everyone could vote it through just like the Conservatives, NDP, and Liberals all voted it through last time. But instead, it's this mega long bill that's going to take an extremely long time to sort of take a look at in committee, so it's probably going to take a while for this type of benefit to actually hit Canadians. But that's a good segue, because now we can talk a little bit about when you might actually be able to get this benefit. Now remember, this isn't a new grocery rebate, right? They just sort of have given that lip service. This is just a doubling of the GST, HST sort of tax credit that many people receive. And you often receive that quarterly, right? Every 3 months. That's January 5th, April 5th, July 5th, and October 5th. These are the payment dates for the GST, HST tax credit. So we're already past January. We're already past April 5th. If this bill is able to pass in a timely manner such that it is actually becomes law, receives royal assent, well before July 5th, well, we could see this doubling, this extra payment as of July 5th, that extra sort of up to $467 or something like that I said at the beginning of the video. But if we sort of miss that deadline, there's a chance that it could not even come until October 5th, 2023. Luckily, just like the GST and HST tax credit doubling that happened last time, you don't have to apply for this benefit. You don't have to go through a CRA portal and click any buttons, provide any information. This is done all through the information that the CRA already has about you, given your taxes that you've submitted. That is the one requirement, that you have done your 2021 taxes, right? The taxes that you would have filed in April 2022 for the previous year, 2021. That's what you need to have filed in order for this to be automatically sent to you, because it uses the amount of income that you get to determine exactly what your payment is. The other looming question is, will this government worker strike have any impact on people receiving this type of benefit? My thought is likely no, because this bill isn't even close to being passed as of yet, and the strike is ongoing, but it seems like there's sort of ongoing negotiations to get that deal done, so it's likely that that won't be a concern, at least for this benefit. Other government services and other things you might need, well, that is a different story entirely. But I'm curious what you think about all of this. Are you in favor of a benefit like this going through, this grocery rebate that's just a GST, HST tax credit? Or is it frustrating to you that it's included inside of this kind of like omnibus bill, this mega bill that has 20 other bills inside of it? Let me know what you think about that. I thought that was a little bit odd, especially given last time it was such a short bill to get the exact same change pushed through. Let me know your thoughts in the comment section below, and subscribe to the channel if you haven't already done so. But with all of that said, thanks so much for watching, everybody. I really hope this video helped you out at least a little bit, and I'll see you next time.